Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another one of devCodeCamp's Alumni Spotlights. My name, of course, is Carl Peterson, devCodeCamp's social media producer. Once again, I say this every time, we have a great one for you, and I'm super glad you're here to share this knowledge and insight with us that you're about to be given. So let's jump right into it with what is your name and when did you attend devCodeCamp?
Sure. Hi, Carl. I'm Jim Boston. I attended devCodeCamp in 2016.
So 2016, you're an old timer
It's,
now, huh?
I
It's been a
know, that
few
was back
years.
many years ago. Yeah.
Sure. What do you currently do for work?
So I am a data engineer. I work at MGIC, which is a mortgage insurance company. Um, so I work on a team. We build code and I support the code that provisions data that the business uses for reporting on operations and financials and data science and things like that. So,
Sure. So from a high level, what does your normal day look like? And I love asking developers and analysts this question because no day is the exact same, right?
mhm.
But if you were to just generalize it, what's a typical day look like?
So typically, I most days will let's see. So we support, some like batch processes that run overnight. So usually, at the start of the day, we'll deal with anything that broke or caused any issues or anything like that overnight. Um, Hopefully, we don't want to get many of those, but we have to spend some time working on them when they happen. And then I'll work on, meetings and projects, um, project work for, building code or enhancing code or fixing things that the business wants to get fixed. So it's a mix of things like that, like support work and project work and um, independent work and some meetings. So that's a typical day.
Sure, makes total sense to me. And like I said, I know every day is definitely different than the last. So thank you for summing it all up
Uh-huh.
for me. So Jim, how important would you say a data analysis is for a company?
It's really, I mean, critical for a company like, um, being able to know how the business is doing, like how your operations are going, being able to, know what your financial numbers are and report on those to executives and investors and, you know, other, entities that regulate you. Um, that's stuff that can't like, that's like critical stuff that can't, um, can't be delayed or can't be missed. So, stuff like that is really important to the business.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, it's been a long time that companies would just throw darts at a board and hope that something hits. And now these roles in the last few decades have been developed to make that a little bit more of a clearer path. So yeah,
Yeah.
huge. I was imagining you would say that, obviously, but yeah, huge. So Jim, when you are examining these trends happening, uh, and you see kind of an uplift and the gas pedal's kind of towards that and you're like we should do this, this is a trend, do you usually see a positive result stem from that? So basically what I'm saying is the work that you do, do you see it come to fruition at the very end usually?
Yeah. Um, yeah. I'm part of the team that is, working on things like that, like transforming how the business works. So, it, some of the projects that we've worked on in the past, like make that kind of stuff happen, like being able to, you know, shorten the time to make a decision about, what the data is showing you or, understand a new, put a new product into the market. Um, all of that is that's just, the demand and like the timelines for that are just like getting quicker and quicker. So that's, happened to me. I've seen that over the years as I've been working here.
Sure, sure, the role is becoming more and more crucial for sure. So let's take a step back. Let's talk about devCodeCamp a little. What was your experience like? Were you one of these students who were kind of kept up on track and got it instantly, or were you someone who saw some challenges going through the course?
Um, yeah, it was definitely hard for me. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Um, but it was, worth it in the end. It's what I wanted to do to get, change careers and, take control of my life. It didn't come easy, but made, I made the effort. I dedicated a lot of time to it, not just like, during the course, but, once I finished the course, trying to, you know, work on things and improve things so I could like, land a job that I wanted. It really did take a lot of work.
Sure. So what was the thing that motivated you originally to be like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go through devCodeCamp and pursue this.
I had never, when I'd gone to college and I'd gotten a job out of college, tried a couple things and I didn't really, I never really, I didn't know, what I wanted to do, where I wanted to work right away. Um, but I knew I wasn't, what I was doing at the time wasn't like what I wanted to do. So, um, I knew I had, you know, some technical aptitude, and I knew the kind of work I enjoyed doing, and I think I thought that working um, in software development would be a good match for me. So that's over the years as I kind of figured out what I wanted to do, I decided that I wanted to make that um, move to change my careers and find something that fit me a little better and what I my preferences.
So happy you found your thing and you're happy
Yeah,
now and I'm sure you are too. That's probably a lot of just stress off your plate just day to day, knowing that you don't hate your job, right?
yeah, and it's a every job has its pluses and minuses, but
Sure.
finding something that um, fits more of like what you want to do, even you know even when it has its downsides, is a big improvement.
Sure, you got to find that thing that the negative always underlies the positive. So
Yeah.
happy you found your thing. So I can't think of a better person to ask this question to, someone who literally is a trend expert. Do you
Oh,
think
I don't know about that.
well, for this narrative of the question, you're a
Sure. Okay, go ahead.
trend no, I'm sure you are. But someone who does know a lot about trends. And I already know what this answer might be from you, but I want to hear it from you. Do you think coding and data analytics, especially the how quick the industry is growing and how we're currently reaching a point where there's more jobs available than there are developers. Do you think that's a trend, or do you think that coding and data analytics are something that will be ingrained heavily into culture and our lives practically forever?
Yeah, it's something that is going to be a bigger part of our lives, how we live our lives and the kind of, make our way through life and everything, all the businesses and products and everything that we interact with, it's all, going to be driven more and more by data. And there's just, more data out there. Everything that we're using is generating more data. That's not going to go away. Um, and, um, it's going to be part of our, I don't know, part of our lives and part of our workplaces. And, the jobs are out there to, you know, you know, um, work on those kind of things. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, I knew that was going to be your answer, but I wanted to hear it in your own words. Definitely, I agree with everything you just said. And so does the numbers of
yep.
how many people are leaning into these roles. So a lot of people assume that you have to be really good at math to do a analytical role, and even though I personally believe there's definitely some truth in that, I also am assuming it's not 100% accurate. If someone uh, wasn't super great at math or super into doing it in general, uh, would they be successful in a data analytical role using other soft skills available to them, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's different roles in the whole, data and analytics environment. So you don't have to be, a math genius or a data scientist or a number cruncher. There's, there, they might be at the end of this, end of the pipeline, like, working on the data that people upstream are provisioning and, writing the code to bring the data in from other places and, link it all together. So that's, I'm more of a data engineer. So that's my role is more like on the front end, like bringing the data in. And I don't, I have some math background, but I'm not like a data scientist. So there's, you know, just if you're not a math genius, there's still, job,
Still hope for you.
opportunities. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and just like you were saying, there's it's going to be something that's going to continue to keep growing, and I'm sure there's roles that are coming in the next couple of years that aren't even invented yet. And just like you said, there's lots of people in the pipeline. So that's great to know that that's available now, and definitely as technology advances and and we lean into what's available and the knowledge and skill sets. Absolutely, I totally agree that these roles are going to start popping up more and more people in the pipeline. So that's
Mhm.
excellent. Thank you for that insight. Do you think that Dev Code Camp laid the groundwork for your success today?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't, I got hired in an entry level job. It was, the things that I was working on weren't directly what I learned at devCodeCamp, but I had, just the exposure and the experience and the, you know, just, some of the know-how, but more of, the skills to, if you're working on something that you don't know, how to figure it out, how to try things, how to test things, just ask for help, look at resources, look up, you know, how to how to get something done when you don't know how you're going to do it. Um, those are all things that I learned at devCodeCamp, and it's I still do that stuff day to day. I have to do things that I don't know how to do, so I have to figure out how to do it. So it's not, um, it's not a one to one that what you learn, you know, um, you're absolutely going to use, but some of the principles and the things like that, the background skills, all that's going to help you. Help me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You look at, in the technology field, especially, there's obviously people from all sorts of backgrounds and walks of life and educational backgrounds too. And from an outsider's point of view looking in, you might look at somebody at a high end role and think like, yeah, they know everything. But then you kind of get closer to the situation and realize that everybody's just kind of making it up as best as they can as they go along with the tools that are given to them.
Yeah.
And being in technology, if you can figure out the basics, you got the next couple steps taken care of. So
Yeah,
you're
that's
completely
true.
correct. Yeah. So is there, this is a very specific question. It's totally
uh,
okay if you can't remember, especially going back a few years now. Is there something that you wish you knew at the start of the course that you didn't come around to realizing until the very end of your Dev Code Camp course?
um
Or maybe
mhm.
is there something day one at the role that you're in now that you wish you knew, you know, then that you know now? Again, very specific question, so it's
Uh-huh.
okay.
I it can't, I think just knowing that, um the technology world is bigger than what you learn at dev code camp. So I found out, what I found out working at a company is that, um there's more roles, there's more technologies, there's more, systems, it's bigger than what you just learn at dev code camp. So something like, talking to people at businesses, or getting more exposure to, there. It's just, and I still don't know everything, so just knowing that the world is bigger than what you learn at devCodeCamp, but it's still, you get some of those skills to figure things out on your own, so you can make your way once you're out.
Yeah, you have to be open to always be learning, right?
Yeah.
That's the big key. So Jim, we've reached the final question. And I end every one of these with the same question, and I'm looking forward to hearing your answer. If somebody was listening
Mhm.
or watching this right now who was seriously thinking about a career in not only code, but pursuing it through Dev Code Camp and one of the courses we offer in our boot camp, what would you say to them?
I'd say, you don't have to be scared of failing or not knowing everything. You can just, you know, you're in life, your career, it's, up to you. So if there's something you want to do, you can just try it and get help from people, and don't be afraid to ask for help, and, meet new people and ask for help with your career. It's, people are willing to help you. And if they're not willing to help you, then they're not really people you want to work with or know. So you can't really go wrong. Just by not being afraid to, take control of your career and try something new.
That's really excellent advice, and also something you don't hear often, but it's totally true. It's okay to ask for help. Obviously, in the learning phase, but wherever you are in your career, it's okay to be like, hey, got a question, or
Uh-huh.
hey, I'm stuck, or yeah, that's really excellent advice, very sound. And just like that, it's done. There we go.
Ooh,
We
all
have
right.
completed the episode. You did great. Thank you so much. And everyone watching, listening, reading at home, wherever you are, thank you so much for giving us some of your time today for another one of devCodeCamp's Alumni Spotlights. My name again is Carl Peterson. Jim, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Yeah, it was a pleasure speaking to you.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.